Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to the Above and Below podcast, a show where above-average gentlemen with below-average intelligence in the noggin talk about everything nerdy, geeky, and otherwise.
Amen.
Thank you for joining us in the journey into the unknown, where four gentlemanly dudes work to understand their place in this vast expanse of the universe. So sit back, give me an amen and hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And enjoy. Hello, my name is Reverend Stephen.
I'm the fucking what the fuck's
Altar boy?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm the
one I'm
boy.
gonna touch later.
I am the altar boy, Bobby.
This is Tony.
I'm just, Brad, hi.
Yeah.
So, Cody, if you tuned into our last episode, Cody said something at the very end of the podcast that is actually sparking our entire conversation for this episode. He mentioned Witches for Jesus, which is actually a cult that did some crazy stuff not too long ago. If you want, you can go ahead and search it yourself. It's a pretty interesting read. But we've decided to bring to the table a cult, which we have not told anyone else here what it's about, and we are going to present them. So, Brad, if you will, Brother Bradley.
All right. I'm starting with this cult here. Okay. Stop me if you've heard this one. And you haven't. I know that. Because I asked. So, it all starts off. There's this cult, right? It's called the Cult of Seth.
Seth?
Seth.
Seth.
Are you saying
Seth.
Seth or like Seth?
S-E-T-H.
Oh, Seth, like my buddy Seth from high school.
Yeah. It was based in Washington State, like Washington, somewhere in like a foresty area. I don't know the
DC.
exact pinpoint.
No,
No, the state.
Yeah, the state of Washington, D.C.
So there are people that believe that, so it's not
I
even
know,
funny.
it's not.
It's just sad.
It is sad.
Just
Believe what?
in
That
cult.
Washington, D.C. and Washington State are like nowhere near each other, and they're
think-
not connected.
You think there's a cult for that?
Probably.
Wow.
There's flat earthers. There's a bunch of stuff.
I believe in the flat earth.
No, Earth is a raptor.
So anyway, I'm gonna start this story by saying like where it starts. It comes to the attention to the Air Force. Like they get attention. Like they get the attention. This cult draws the attention of the Air Force.
And they bombed them.
When a man named Jacob Carter came to a base near his home after because
I'm assuming they didn't bomb them then.
no. So the Air Force, this base was out of Cheyenne Mountain, and Jacob Carter met with a general named George Hammond, right? And he presented him with evidence of a small, dangerous cult in Washington that had 50 or so members, right?
Dangerous?
Oh yeah, they had armed to the teeth, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So the general, or no, we're not there yet. So 50 members, and it was called the Cult of Seth. And he believed that a man leading the cult was claiming to be an Egyptian god,
Like
Which one?
Walk like an Egyptian kind of god?
like the god Setesh,
I have not
brother of
familiar.
Osiris and Isis.
Where?
Where?
No, ISIS doesn't exist anymore. We turned them into was.
So basically, other names he has is Setek, Set, Seti, Seth.
Seti.
Yeah, Seti.
Mr.
My brother
Rossetti.
Seti.
So he's the Egyptian god of chaos, the embodiment of hostility and evil. That's
Okay.
who Mr. Carter believes that this man is claiming to be.
Okay.
So his name, pretending to be Setesh, the god of evil, is Seth Fargo.
Oh.
What a stupid fucking name, right?
Yes, actually, I am the Egyptian god of evil. I am named Setet. Don't you just mean Seth, buddy? No, it's Setet, actually.
So anyway, there was a historian on the base under the employ of the general. His name was Dr. Jackson, right?
Michael Jackson?
No, Miss
Daniel
Jackson.
Jackson.
Janet Jackson?
Sorta.
Miss
Tito
Jackson.
Jackson?
Better hair.
Randy Jackson?
You know
Stop
all
it.
the Jackson 5?
Yes.
I don't.
I info dumped on them the other night.
That's hilarious.
Wait, you talked to the Jackson 5 and info dumped on them?
Oh yeah, they were all like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "All right, tell me everything I need to know."
He met them in the afterlife.
Not all of them are dead.
Only 3 of them are
Okay,
dead.
but that's still a couple.
So anyway, during some research into this cult, Dr. Jackson came up with some interesting results from his work. So after a few weeks, he found out that there was a cult in the 1800s in England that also claimed to be the cult of Satesh.
Was it a geeky nerd like
Bunch of
Mr.
phonies.
Fargo?
No, actually, so obviously with cults in the 1800s, the church was like, nah, we're shutting that shit down, right?
Yeah.
So, but by the time the church like got there to fuck them up, all 300 have killed themselves in a ritualistic suicide.
That's good.
They drank
But
the Kool-Aid.
the leader,
Yeah.
Sethi, was never found. Never.
Okay. So this guy's claiming to be the same guy then, is what you're telling me?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So then after some more digging, he discovers that there was another cult in ancient Greece. Like 1000 BC area. So, that a god named Typhon,
Okay.
the cult of Typhon had the same fucking MO.
So they're either time travelers or they just like stay alive for a while.
Or he's just crazy and had Google. But,
No,
well, this was in the 90s, early 2000s, so maybe he just had a book. So,
Yeah, we don't read books anymore.
Yeah.
it had the same...
Books are for pussies.
Books are for pussies.
It had the same MO though. Exactly 300 members killed themselves in a ritualistic suicide.
Cool.
And the leader of the cult, the god Typhon, was never found. So,
Spoopy.
another way that they could piece this together was they also had a few similarities. Again, 300 followers with the ritual suicide, and then each cult was represented by a fictitious animal. And so, Set himself, the Egyptian god,
What was the animal?
it was just not a real animal.
Oh.
I don't think there's a name for it, but it was just a fake animal. I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
I didn't dig too deep into that part. But so the god himself, Set, in ancient Egypt, was depicted by an unusual animal, and they have one of two theories on it. It was either extinct or it's not real. But since they have no fossil records that even kind of look like this thing,
It's
then
not real.
fake. Yeah. So that's the assumption there.
Like a jackalope.
Also, the leader of the cult claimed 3 things. He could heal his followers, he could raise the dead, and his eyes could glow.
Did he do
Okay.
any of that?
So healing followers, I understand. Eyes glowing, I could get in the right light. I could get behind that, but raising the dead seems a little out there for me.
Yeah, well, so apparently he also killed exactly 3 followers in front of the other cultists, too.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. That's just
that
a power trip.
Is that like they in all 3 examples, they killed 3 followers in front of the rest of their cult?
Except the last example, because he was still building his followers. He
That's
only had
fair.
50 guys in a compound.
That's fair.
So, they get to Washington to investigate the place, and a man is literally standing outside the complex. His name is Jason Levison, and he'd received a brief communication from his son Tommy, which was inside the compound. And he's been there for like 9 months, and apparently they have been slowly amassing a small artillery of fucking AKs and fucking just like Molotovs and homemade explosives. So the ATF gets involved.
That's a running
The-
The Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm Association.
Oh, that seems right up their alley.
That's a running theme in our stories, I feel.
Well, when you stockpile guns, like.
I mean, I guess.
So eventually General Hammond pulls some strings and he gets a team of 2 officers and 2 private contractors, and they go out and they manage to surround and infiltrate the compound without any firing or anything like that happening. They just get in.
Okay, like covert ops, kind of like Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, they make it in, and one of the
Metal Gear Solid.
yeah, pretty much, and basically
Other sneaky game.
one of the officers that gets in actually just gets a good shot on Seth himself, and that's pretty much how it ended. Like,
Nobody.
Oh, so they just
retaliated.
shot the guy in the face.
They're like, "Yep,
It's like,
we're done."
That's it.
so it was about to kick off. Like it's like they realized, like, oh, we're surrounded. Shit's
we're gonna
going
kill
down.
ourselves, probably.
But his new followers from the inside were just like, haha, bang, gotcha.
Oh,
Like,
so
they were
it's
gearing
less
up,
of a-
they were getting the bombs ready, they were getting the guns ready, and then she took him out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
And-
Were they gonna start like fighting the outside world? Is that like
yeah,
what
they were
their
going to
plan
fight the
was?
ATF around them.
Oh,
Now, what year did this take place?
2001, 2002, something like that.
Interesting.
oh, good. I was like,
It takes place over like a couple years. Like,
It's built up.
it's a build-up.
Pretty fucking cool, dude.
It's kind of cool that like it was something from the past that continued forward to like present day. Like
Yeah, it
they-
lasted a long
like they
fucking time,
linked
it
it.
seems.
You know
If
what
I'm
I
being
mean?
honest, it would make a great episode of television.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
almost
bet,
like a
yeah.
sci-fi episode,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
almost like something,
Star
something
Trek.
kind of like a
Star Wars.
Yeah, so originally when we started this episode, we were each going to pick a cult, and I'm like, I'm going to play a prank on the other three members of this cunting podcast. And I'm like, I'm going to do this episode of Stargate, right? And I'm going to present it as not Stargate at all with like evidence, and they're going to be like, oh shit, that's wild, bro. And then next episode I was going to be like, hey guys, remember that cult? Yeah, that was just an episode of Stargate.
But then
then-
literally everyone figured it out as a joke. We're like, I bet it's a Stargate cult. And then he ruined his own joke because he's like, how did you know? How did you know? Did
you tell him?
Did you tell him? That's how did you? There's no way you should have known.
My brilliance is wasted here.
And it's funny.
Wait, so that's
because
actually just a
I'm
Stargate
not sure
episode?
what's- I'm not sure what's
That's like
similar.
literally just a
He's-
Stargate episode.
There's some similarities
That's
that
so
I picked
fucking
up from
good.
the cult that I chose
It connects.
It's
It all connects with us three right here, Brad, Steve, and I.
because his was the fake story.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was literally based on the other two.
Oh.
Literally. But with a
no,
little,
no.
with a little
Based
bit of aliens thrown in.
Based off Steve's. But mine deals with
Oh.
aliens. So while yours was a little bit of violent and while it was fiction, I'll go next.
I just want to say real quick though, I spent 4 fucking hours watching that same episode on the Wikias, figuring out how to tell this story without mentioning Stargates, fucking aliens. Oh, man.
You
So
should
next time,
just
don't
mention
shoot
them.
yourself in the foot and just stick to your convictions. And be like, nope, not a Stargate joke.
I was just so taken aback that it was just like, oh, that's Stargate, isn't it? Like, what you mean it's Stargate? I mean, it is, but why? What?
Brad, every joke you ever make is so.
So
speaking of Stargate,
Speaking of Stargate.
Once I get to my point in which I'll explain how I figured out the connection. And it's a story. But I'll start. Mine's called The Heaven's Gate. Originally known as the human...
Stargate.
The Stargate.
It's a little on the nose, Bobby.
That's the attack that Magna Angemon uses to defeat Piedmon in Digimon.
Oh, that's...
he brings out a cult.
Yeah,
No,
Go kill yourselves!
300 followers run up and just kill themselves, and the guy gets so sad he just dies.
It's really anticlimactic. He just draws a circle, a gate opens, and the clown dude just gets sucked into it. It's kind of lame.
Well, the cult was originally known as the Human Individual Metamorphosis Cult.
Jesus Christ.
For the it wasn't known until Heaven's Gate, which is what it's the famous name for it, but it wasn't known as Heaven's Gate up until like the last few years of its existence.
HIMC.
What is that?
Him, the fucking Viagra company.
No, the fucking the acronym for what you just said, HIMC.
I didn't say C. Did I say C?
I don't know.
C.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you said cult at the end, so
Oh. Well, no, cult wasn't in the name.
why?
Why would cults don't call
Just-
themselves cults?
Yeah, they call themselves
Label
organizations.
yourself-
Yeah.
Just label yourself what you are. Come on.
All right.
No, that's how you get people in it. You can't say it's a cult.
So I
it's
have-
like pyramid schemes. You can't say they're pyramid schemes.
It's literally the NRA.
I was part of a pyramid scheme once, so I'll get into that some other time.
So it was founded in 1974 by Bonnie Nettles, living from 1927 to 1985, and Marshall Applewhite. If I call him Applewhite at any point, I apologize. doing all this, I kept calling him Applewright because Applewhite sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah, so Mr. Applewright.
I don't think he'll care.
No, I don't think he will. But Marshall
He'll send a bunch
Applewhite.
of people to kill yourself.
Mr. Correct.
Well, don't worry. They had nicknames. T and Doe.
Okay.
Bonnie being T and Marshall is Doe. The two met in March 1972 in a hospital that Nettles been working at, and Applewhite recalls feeling as if he'd known her for a really long time. Well, Nettles was already fucking insane and decided to tell him that they had met in a previous life and that their meeting was foretold by aliens.
Oh shit!
Seems very normal.
And then she led him to believe that he had divine assignment. In June 1972, they both reached a conclusion that they had been chosen to fulfill biblical prophecies and that they had been given higher level minds than the average person.
From the aliens?
Yes.
Yes.
Jesus is an alien. Didn't you know? He lives in the sky.
Well, see, we're getting there.
Being an alien, though.
I have divine assignment every time I have to take a shit.
Jesus comes down, son.
So they started posting advertisements where they recruited disciples, whom they would begin to call the crew. At the events,
That's
literally what they told these people that they were beings from another planet, called the Next Level, who sought participants for an experiment and stated that those who agreed to do this with them would be brought to a higher evolutionary level.
They have a fucking stupid name.
What are you talking about? This sounds right up my alley.
They called themselves the Divine Two.
Oh, you're in, Steve?
Oh, yeah, dude, of course.
So the two in the crew had multiple ways of recruiting people across the
crew.
Hell.
That's not it.
They crossed the country proclaiming gospel of higher level metamorphosis, the deceit of humans by false god spirits, and development with the sunlight for meditative healing.
Like a butterfly?
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Dude, their rap skills are insane.
So
two in the crew.
Well, see, no, T and Doe also not only called themselves the Two, but the UFO Two. And the UFO is coming very soon.
Yes.
So by 1976, they stopped recruiting and they became very reclusive. They went from a small, like, social gathering group almost to an organized church.
Yeah.
Church.
Yeah.
They set in a bunch of rigid behavioral guidelines. They banned sexuality and any sort of drug use.
Wait.
Yeah, except for probably the main two dudes who were just
I'm getting there.
Wait. So the gruesome twosome couldn't
the UFOs.
do the gruesome twosome?
No.
No, dude, they were too busy bringing in the crew for the UFO.
So the people.
Wait, what if the crew went into, like, the crew fuck the two?
No. I'm getting there. There's no fucking and there's an explicit reason why.
It's a big orgy.
So it was described as loosely transformed from a loosely organized social group to a centralized religious movement comparable to a roving monastery. So they got pretty fucking serious.
Gypsy monks?
They described the cult as their religion is Sheilaism. And
Sheila.
Yeah. It's a way for people to merge the diverse religions, so like Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, all of them into one, and then just making up the rest.
That's what I'm gonna do.
So a lot of the members of it were a part of the said faiths that I just mentioned, and people who knew them.
Who ripped ass? I hope it picked that up.
Oops.
Are you nervous?
I didn't mean to stop your conversation.
I just had to
really
release.
scared of the no sex part.
The twosome.
It was the dog.
Yeah. Damn dog.
All right, now here's the kicker of what they believed in. This group believed, the central belief of it was that they could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature entirely. So then they would ascend to heaven, referred to the next level or the evolutionary level above human, or Tila.
So you're telling me these motherfuckers got all together and just like put on costumes and shit probably?
No costumes. Okay. They completely rejected their humanity. They cut off all their personal lives, no family, no personal belongings. And in fact, the only personal belongings they ever carried with them in public was a $5 bill and a roll of quarters for whatever reason.
Sometimes you need to take the bus.
I can't do that. I can't reject my humanity.
No.
I'd have to pet every puppy I see.
So here's the real like middle finger to them all that they were kind of like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Is this real? So Nettles dies in 1985 from cancer.
How? He was an ascended being.
She was an ascended being. In fact, she believed she was God.
Okay. Oh,
God himself.
God died of cancer.
So, and that's what fucked with everybody so badly.
That's in the New Testament.
Their original belief.
And Jesus said to his disciples, "Guys, my dad's got cancer."
Imagine
He's not doing real good. He's been on chemo,
But
for
it's
a
fine.
while.
In 3 days, he's going to be cured.
Imagine the reality check. You're just like, yeah, I'm God,
God
but I
died.
have cancer.
So that's the funny part. So they originally believed that whenever they would ascend, that a UFO would come down from space
And bring him.
and take them, start flying them up to heaven, all the while biologically and chemically rearranging everything about you to turn you into the perfect being.
Okay.
Well, when Nettles died, the person who was from God himself or from the next level,
They were waiting
died.
for a UFO.
They were waiting, so no UFO came.
You imagine they're just all standing outside this thing, and somebody's inside, and he's like, "Guys, they've been out here for 3 fucking days. I gotta tell them something." And he goes outside, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, everybody, the UFO, it was here. You missed it. You just blinked or something. I swear, like, it was here. I watched it."
So that's what they did. They literally came out and they were like, "Guys, they're."
Now you missed it. It just came and got him. No.
They came out and they're like, "Dude, it's like we get
cool
it.
as
The
fuck."
body's supposed to be gone, but her." So they instead switched to calling their bodies vehicles for the soul or your consciousness. So when you died, instead of your body being taken, your consciousness would then be put into a perfect being into the next level.
Okay.
I bet you one guy in the audience is just there, and he's like, "This fucking sucks."
You know what I would do if I knew of this at the time, but I was like a super fit, like perfect person? I would go to them
Brad,
and
what
be
are
like,
you talking
I
about?
am Nettles reborn into perfection. Suckle
it
my
gets-
peen.
It gets better with sort of a similar theme to that. So I'm going to talk about their structure real quick. 18 and up only. Once joined, they would live a specific lifestyle. Aesthetic. It's not actually that.
What the
I can't pronounce the word. But
Aesthetic?
no, it's that. It's not aesthetic, but it's like ascetic.
Oh, yeah, it's a...
Or life without sensual pleasures. To enforce this lifestyle upon themselves, many of the men in the group, 8
Chop
of
their
them,
dicks off.
yeah,
Balls.
actually, 8 of them in total, including the leader, Applewhite, all went under castration.
Yep.
The first 2 in the group, one almost died, and the other one, because of the mutilation, left. Because the person that they were getting to castrate them was a person who was formerly a nurse who didn't believe that she was a human. So naturally, that didn't go well. So instead, they just went to the hospitals, and 8 of the men in the group got castrated.
You imagine, okay, so like the guy who left because of the mutilation, he's just there, he's like, they cut my fucking dick off. He's like, I'm out. Like, this is too goddamn much. And then he goes home.
I just wanted to
and he
say I
finally
didn't have
like
sex. I
talks
didn't
to
want
his
to actually
family.
never have sex
And they're
again.
like, oh, where were you for like 6 years? And he's like, I went to this summer camp.
Dude,
They cut my dick off.
it is literally the joke we made years ago where we played gay chicken. And then it's like 20 years later after having, like, we have adopted children. We've lived our lives together as a nice gay couple. Just, I picked out this new upholstery for the couch. Yeah, I'm out. That's too much. I'm gone. And then just go back to your life.
Yeah, except in this situation, they cut his dick and balls
dick
off.
chopped off. Holy fuck.
The group was considered cybersect, which is really advanced for like the time frame that it was because they mainly communicated through computers of the time, which was super cool.
It took forever.
Yeah. So that was their structure.
In the 80s, they were doing computers? That's pretty cool.
Their belief system, Applewhite's writing, which combined aspects of millennialism, Gnosticism, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and science fiction, suggested that he himself believed to be Jesus' successor and the present representative of Christ on earth.
Jesus too, Electric Boogaloo.
Representative.
While Nettles presented herself as God.
He's like, I'm actually Jesus' secretary. I'll get you in at 2:00. Is that good?
You think they had arguments behind closed doors? Why do you get to be God? You're always God. I want to be God. Shut up, Jesus too.
So the group declared that they were against suicide as they defined suicide in their own context to mean to turn against the next level when it is being offered, and believed their human bodies were only vehicles meant to help them on their journey. Suicide, therefore, would not be allowed during their would be not allowing their consciousness to leave their human bodies to join the next level, remaining alive instead of participating in the group suicide. Fuck, I just spoiled everything. I'm getting there. So ironically,
Spoiler alert.
the cult would rename themselves with 3-letter names with the suffix of Adi. So everybody changed their name to a 3-letter name and added Adi to the
My
end
name
of it.
is Stiati.
I'm Body. Babadi.
Hi, Briati.
My name is Adi Adi.
Adi.
That's what that song's about.
Yeah, no.
It's about this cult.
Yeah.
So, to become
Obvious.
eligible for the next level, members would lose all attachments to the planet itself. Give up their jobs, money, families, names, individualities, sexualities, even, and your gender. And even human mannerisms as well, believing that they had to accept the new level entirely so that they would be taken by it.
Wait.
Pants. I was gonna
Smears it on the head. Next level.
It's sort of it's just like a bunch of people walking around like fucking dogs and shit. Like,
So I've been talking about the next level a lot, and to be honest, it probably doesn't sound that great. Let me describe it to you. Tila, for short, the evolutionary level above human, they believe that it was a physical corporeal place in which residents would live in pure bliss and obtain nourishment from the sun.
like
That's what a
Superman.
plant.
Yes. At the next level, beings do not engage in sexual intercourse, eating, or dying. The things that make us mammalian, Molly.
Yeah, I'm from Malia.
And they believe that Christians call God, and they believe that what the Christians call God is a highly advanced extraterrestrial.
Okay, so listen, hear me out.
So Jesus is an alien.
You know when I would be done with this cult, right?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, so like you got to get rid of all your earthly desires, and I'm like, okay, all right. They're like, you got to get rid of sex and all that stuff while you're here, but then once you ascend, obviously you'll be a better being. And I was like, okay, so once I ascend, I can have sex, right? And they'll be like, nah, you don't want it anymore. And I'm like, fuck this, I'm good.
Man, I was done right before castration. I wouldn't have stuck in as far as you did.
Well, that's not that. They don't fucking advertise that in their fucking pamphlets.
Could you imagine? It's just
You
like,
have to
hey!
get there for them to tell you, hey, you gotta cut your balls
join the
off.
cult, cut your dick off.
So there's a name for how they think that the world operated, and they believed in the ancient astronaut hypothesis, which we've talked about before, and that is the idea that aliens have come before, set everything up to lead to a certain way, like the pyramids.
Or Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and
That's what it is.
and they took the concept and taught it as a belief that aliens planted the seeds of current humanity millions of years ago and have come to reap the harvest of their work in the form of spirituality evolved individuals who will join the ranks of the flying saucer crews.
Though I think that is one of the coolest explanations for how humans got as advanced as we are, I truly, truly do not think that that's a good basis for a religion.
So there's 4 techniques to get to the next level.
Okay.
Now let me read what happens at the end here. March 26, 1997, Applewhite and 39 other active members were found in a house in Rancho Santa Fe. So I don't know if it means, because when I read the article, it said Applewhite and 40 members, or 40 members, Applewhite among them. So I don't know if it meant like 40 members and Applewhite.
It sounds like it was 39 and 1.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what I have written. Applewhite and 39 other active members were found in a house in Rancho Santa Fe, dead. All people within the home had participated in a ritualistic suicide coordinated with one of the brightest comets seen in the 20th century, Comet Hale-Bopp.
Wait, why did they say my name in it?
Well, here, I'll get to that.
Hell, Pop!
So just before
Oh my
the gathering
God,
and
guys.
suicide. No.
No.
Wrong Kyle.
Wrong aisle.
So just before the gathering and the suicide, the Heaven's Gate cult posted on the following on their website. Hale-Bopp brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to conclusion. Graduation. From the human evolutionary level, we are happily prepared to leave this world and go with T's crew.
Guys.
I thought you weren't allowed to kill yourself.
Yeah,
See, that's
but God said it was fine.
the 4 techniques.
Oh.
So after she died, again, they said they revised their rules, just like all religions do, with certain things happening here and there.
Right.
And they said, hey, you can, but here's what you have to do to get to the next level. The cult believed, so here's number 1, Tila, in which the cult believed a UFO would descend from the heavens and biologically and chemically re-engineer the human body they inhabit into the perfect being. Outside studies compare this to a rapture in Christianity. So that's number 1. That's what they thought would happen. Number 2, natural death, accidental death, or death from random violence. Here, the graduating soul leaves the human container for a perfect next level body.
Okay.
3, outside persecution that leads to death. After events with another cult in which members were killed by the American government, Applewhite feared potentiality of the American government slaughtering Heaven's Gate. And here's where it all comes full circle with
Sounds
yours.
pretty America.
So the branch, what are they called?
The fucking branch Davidians.
Davidians had this very famous standoff in which Steve will get into in a little bit.
Don't spoil it.
With the U.S. government. And in Stargate, they took this cult and based it, your cult, the cult of Seth, Set, whatever it is, off this cult specifically. So I was like, what the fuck happened? So I clicked the link and I read up on it. And it said, oh, this has been referenced in Star. I'm like, what the fuck? Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
So here's the fourth rule, and this is the irony of the suicide rule. Willful exit from the body.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
so only if you really want to kill yourself.
Like, all right. I really want to do it. I really want to go join the crew.
Near the end, Applewhite had a revelation that they might have to abandon their human bodies and achieve the next level as Jesus had done before.
But Jesus was crucified. He didn't choose. I don't think he chose that life.
So
Jesus was the next level before.
Well, no, see, Jesus was the status of Jesus carried from Jesus himself to him.
Okay.
So while Jesus was an ordinary man who didn't control what happened, it led to you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so complicated. They were insane.
Cults are crazy. Like,
Wow.
legitimately crazy.
I like at first I was like, oh, I know of this from the suicides, but I didn't know what they believed in, and it was a ride the whole time. I sat for like 2.5 hours, just like
There's a drink the Kool-Aid cult, right?
no. The Drink the Kool-Aid cult had 900 people die.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna say
shit
that
ton
was
more.
that was Jonestown, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So my cult, which he had mentioned, is named the Branch Davidians, or it's spelled David IANS. I don't know how they want to pronounce it. It's Davidians to
It's
me.
from Texas, so it's David Ian.
But we need some background stories, and please hold on to this because it gets pretty crazy. Not their belief system really, because it's just an apocalyptic cult. It's the shit that went on between the cult that makes it this fucking famous. And then there's a giant crescendo ending. Just hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so Victor Houtef is a
How tough
Hungarian,
was he?
a Bulgarian immigrant who was also a Seventh-day Adventist believer. Okay,
What the fuck is that?
it's a subset of Christianity, the Seventh-day
okay.
Adventist. That's important. So he comes to the U.S. and he starts writing stuff down because he wants to see the Seventh-day Adventist Church change. So he writes a bunch of stuff, and it's called the Shepherd's Rod. And so he brings it to the church leaders.
How
And
big
they're-
was the shepherd's rod?
oh god.
I
He goes-
bet you it was a good sized rod.
So he goes. So everyone's like, "No, get the fuck out of here! You're crazy." So in 1935, he decides to secede.
Up his game.
Yeah, he decides to secede from the Seventh-day Adventists and becomes known as the Davidians. And then they move to a area in Waco, Texas, and they build this fucking compound, and the community is called the Mount Carmel Center.
Mount Carmel.
It was created as their headquarters.
It's like
and
Candy Mountain.
it's the headquarters and like where they did all the normal stuff. Now he comes and goes because he's not Jesus, he's not God. He dies, right? But he's the leader of this, and they believe him to be, like a prophet.
Okay.
God does.
So he dies in 1955. Now this is where shit gets fucky because his wife takes over, and his
She's
wife.
another level of crazy, I'm guessing.
Well, she proclaims to be like, a messenger from God, and she is like, "Hey guys, the world is going to end in what was it, 1957? Yeah, so it's like 1957. No, 1959. No, I'm sorry, 1957. There's a lot of fucking years. So in 1957, she's like,
Yeah. It's
hey,
like
the
2000,
world's gonna
22.
fucking end. And so we need to prepare for it, all this stuff. So the date comes and goes, and
no.
the world doesn't end. So she's like, oh,
Crazy
fuck.
that.
She's like, oh, fuck, I've kind of fucked up here.
You don't remember Revelations 1957, whenever the world ended?
So the same time that Houtef dies, this other guy goes, hey, I don't believe in what you're talking about. Here are some new documents that God has given us, and he signed them as the branch. Oh, it has.
So this new guy comes in.
So it has.
And he's like, "Hey, by the way, these are the commandments.
So this guy.
Fuck off."
So this new guy's like, "Listen, I followed your husband, right? And I was told by God that these are the new things we have to follow." And he named it, and he named that specific sect the Branch, which later became known as the Branch Davidians. So there's the Davidians, there are the Branch Davidians, and the rabbit hole gets deeper. So in 1957, after the no one's gonna die situation, she decides to sell her portion of, or she decides to sell the compound to move to another compound about 13 miles away.
Super far
That
away.
is, the original compound was like not super big. This one was 941 acres. And they named it, stay with me here, the new Mount Carmel Center.
It's New Candy Mountain, Charlie.
So she bought it, that came and went. You know, they found out, oh, she's fucking crazy and she's not actually the, you know, God or Jesus because she was wrong about the apocalypse. So she's like, fuck, she sells off a bunch of the land there, and she only kept about 77.86 acres of this land. She dissolved her portion and then gave it to the Roden family. Benjamin, his wife Lois, and their son George. Now, this one becomes the first sub-branch of this cult.
So there's branches on branches on
Yes,
branches.
because there's the Davidians.
Like a tree.
There's the Branch Davidians, and then from the Branch Davidians,
There's the branch Davidians.
there comes this kind of weird offshoot from the Rodens, and they kind of closely follow along with what the Davidians were teaching. But just like the first time, so the Rodens are that sub branch originally that were like, hey, these are our new rules that became the Branch sect.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they followed along their Branch sect. And then a man named Vernon Howell joins in 1981. Now keep in mind that what's going on is Benjamin Rowan takes power in the cult. He dies.
Sucks.
And then his wife takes over. But remaining on that same line. So under Lois Roden, Vernon Howell joins in 1981. He will soon be known as David Koresh, and the name change is important later.
Okay.
So he comes to the new Mount Carmel and studies biblical prophecies under Lois, and then was like, hey, Lois, you're like the Lamb of God. So they had an affair.
Oh, good.
He was like 20, and she was in her 60s. But his goal
That's the way
was
to
to
do it.
impregnate Lois to have a son that'll be basically Jesus. He's
So-
the head honcho.
So he's trying to get a 60-year-old pregnant.
Yes.
Sounds really good.
Doesn't work.
That's not gonna.
It doesn't work.
Obviously.
So then he gains a lot of favor. He's well liked within the cult.
What was her name?
Lois Roden.
I'm gonna look her up. I bet she was a baddie.
So so then Howell, David Koresh,
Oh!
is just like, oh no,
Oh!
she's
It's Skeletor!
she's not that attractive.
Oh my god, she's
Oh,
hot.
God.
Ah,
That's it.
I bet she had a dumpy, maybe. Maybe some big old bitties.
60-year-old dragging on the floor, big old bitties.
So Mr. Howell,
Jump rope with him.
he tries to impregnate the cult leader. It doesn't work. So then he gains a lot of favor with everyone because he's well liked. So then he secedes from the Branch Davidians. And stay with me here. Their name is the Davidian Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventist Association.
That's a tongue
Motherfucker.
I was gonna create an acronym for that.
That
like,
was
on the spot.
That
but
was
then
the subcult.
There's too many.
That was the subcult. And now these two cults are at war. Like, not like
Okay.
religious war, like legitimate warfare.
Like they're crusades.
Basically. So,
Fuck.
so Lois, I believe at this point, Lois dies in 1987. So Howell pulls in some legal documentation. He's like, hey, you guys weren't the Branch Davidians. We were always the Branch Davidians. Although he named his that extremely long name, which I'm not repeating again, but he was trying to take over from there. So at this point, there's two figureheads to these separate religions. There's now named David Koresh, and Koresh has biblical implications, which is why he changed his name to it.
Okay, all right.
And then there was the line from Lois's end, which I think was the sun. So what happens now is a religious dick measuring contest. So
Okay, that makes sense.
My Jesus is longer than yours.
So Ronan it tries to challenge Howell's position. He's like, "You're not actually God. You know how I know you're not actually God?" So he exhumes 2 dead bodies.
Oh.
And it was like, "Go ahead, raise the dead."
Yeah, that's a tall request.
So
It's a tall ass.
the dead didn't rise.
I would have done it.
you imagine he was just like, I would, but I don't want to hurt anybody.
I don't want to hurt anybody.
So the dead didn't rise, and then Howell, like any American, sued him for defamation. Because there was this whole legal battle. And then in 1987, November 3rd, Howell and 7 other members raided their portion of Mount Carmel, equipped with 5 .223 caliber semi-automatic rifles, 2 .22 caliber rifles, and 2 12-gauge shotguns with nearly 400 rounds of ammunition, in an apparent attempt to take over the entire compound.
Oh, so you can't win it, so you're just gonna fake
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what ended up happening here was another legal battle.
Oh my
Where,
god.
because he's like, "Oh my god, you're trying to raid us. I'm suing you."
You imagine the judge, right? These guys are sitting there and they're just fucking screaming at each other. It's like, "I'm more God than you," and the other one's like, "No, you're not. You couldn't even raise the party." And the judge is there, fucking
He's like rubbing
hands
his
in their
temples. He's
face.
just like,
"Oh my
No,
god, these guys are
what I'm
fucking morons."
What I'm about to say should really give you solace in our legal system.
Oh, I bet it will.
Because Howell's group claimed in court that their goal was to obtain evidence of Rodin's illegal activity, armed to the teeth, and none of them brought anything to document anything with. No
Good.
cameras, no sketch pads, nothing. So when they went to trial, the trial ended in finding all of Howell's followers not guilty, and they had a hung jury on Howell himself.
If I was on
So-
a jury, it'd be a hung jury.
So none of them got any time for literally raiding the other group's fucking camp.
Boy, I love this country. God bless America.
So, basically from there, that's where Howell steps down, or that's where Howell takes over officially the entire group.
That's good. Good for him.
So Rodin steps down. Howell changes his name legally to David Koresh, which gives ties to to King David and Cyrus the Great.
Okay.
So those are his biblical connections to his name. Now at this point, shit gets really fucky, and on a serious note, really bad stuff happened. He became he was Jesus and God, and he married every woman, including if they were underaged.
Oh.
So there were a lot of sexual assault allegations, especially towards minors. This is real bad. This is not cool, right? And he was also stockpiling guns. So the fact that you mentioned the ATF,
Yep.
that's where this kind of goes in, right? So there's a lot of shit piling up on this guy, and he's running this cult in this compound. So the ATF and the FBI get involved,
Okay.
and so in 1993,
I'm surprised they got involved. They were in Texas. I mean, they can have as many guns as they want, right?
Well, this is illegal. This is militia shit, right? So, on February 28th, 1993, the ATF and the FBI attempted a siege of the compound. It was at 4:20 a.m.
Lit.
Please.
So, they go in, and the Davidians shoot back. This becomes all-out warfare. ATF members die. A couple of the Davidians die, in the initial shootout. So they had to back off. for a
Don't
little
cough,
bit.
just
Okay.
die.
And
Don't ruin. No, you're ruining the sound. Swallow, just die. Hold it in.
God, come on, sorry.
I'm good.
That sounded so painful. I
So
hope
they-
they picked it up.
At this point, shit gets serious, right? So
Yeah, because now they're fighting against the United States government.
so they're like, all right,
Good for them.
we're like, all right, let the children go. Like that's the first thing we want, right? Like let all the kids go, and they do that pretty quickly.
But what's he gonna do without his like
What do you mean? They have-
slave army? Like,
I mean-
what are we about like.
Well, the problem, the unfortunate part is like as soon
I
as
mean,
they
it's fucked
release,
up,
as
but,
soon as they
like-
release the children, like all the kids confirm like the worst. So they're like, fuck, this is bad. The siege lasted 53 days
53 days, man.
You imagine?
with shootings in between, right? But they couldn't get in safely, and they didn't let him escape.
Napalm.
So
I was gonna say, like, right, we're just go in and fucking bomb it. Like, I'm not normally like a warmonger, but like these guys are obviously bad. Blow them the fuck up.
well, it's fine because
Like,
eventually on the 53rd day they decide we're not waiting anymore. So they brought in the tanks.
good.
They brought in heavy artillery. They brought in the heavy guns, and they stormed the castle. Right. It is set now. This is what the documentation says of the event. They can't confirm it otherwise.
Okay.
But essentially, the Davidians started lighting their compound on fire. They set
Good
fires
move.
in 3 different locations.
Solid.
They ran in. They killed basically everyone, including God himself. David Koresh did not survive,
Americans killed God. Weird.
and the compound was burned to the ground.
We stray further from God's light every day.
I can see why Vince McMahon wanted to fight this guy.
Yeah.
Thank God he won.
So at the end of the day, 4 ATF members were killed, 16 were wounded, and 6 Branch Davidians died in the initial attack. Then 76 more died in the final assault and combinations of the fires. And the
Yeah,
rest...
because they lit their own home base on fire. Like, what kind of move is that? It's just like, oh, hey,
Guys, they're coming. What do we do?
light it on fire. It's like, but we live here.
Their idea was probably to like start
Smoke.
confusion. And,
It
like,
didn't work.
Get smoke everywhere and then just like sneak out somehow, but fucked that one up, didn't they?
So they survived. They were taken to court, obviously. They were arrested and taken to court. 8 of them were convicted on firearm charges.
If any of them got away with it.
5 were convicted of voluntary manslaughter. And 4 were acquitted of all charges.
Oh, for the
As of
love
July
of-
2007, all Branch Davidians were released from prison.
Oh my God, they're
That's
doing it again.
insanity.
They've been building over these past few
They're out
years.
there.
So civil suits were brought against the U.S. government, federal officials, and former governor.
Oh, so they sued the government.
No. These were civil suits. So these were like I'm assuming other people. And bulk of the claims were dismissed because they were insufficient matter of law. Because the plaintiffs could advance no material evidence to support them, like that all this was happening and none of them gave a shit. So yeah, that is what happened with the Branch Davidians. Like I said, they're pretty much your run of the mill, like the world's gonna end cult with the weird sexual predator shit the leader was doing. But I think
you
the
know it's a
craziest
good
part of this
cult
shit,
when the leader's fucking all the girls.
the thing that brings this to most insane to me is that it was literally 2 guys having a dick measuring contest. Eventually, won, went crazy with power, and then the government stepped in and brought some tanks.
Yeah, that's great.
And this happened in '93.
If you're gonna go crazy,
I was
you might as well
born
do it
in
with power.
'93.
Yours happened in '97.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
So
these are only like 20-something years ago.
The connection part here about the government interfering is literally this.
Because of them.
It's because of this. So they were afraid that the government was going to intervene. It was literally because of the Branch Davidians.
I wonder what they were doing after the world didn't end, and they're just like, guys, what are we doing? And they're just like, I'm God. Me.
Basically.
Me. It's just like, you were wrong the first time. Nuh-uh.
You think that everyone else is just like, yeah, well, I don't have anything to do Friday night.
It's crazy because
Yeah, let's just all meet in a compound and...
without getting too deep into like concept of religion, but like all of these people have connection, like have biblical proof. Like they've quoted biblical scriptures to either solidify themselves or solidify their beliefs in terms of the end of days or
they normally-
how things would be interpreted to make him, God or the Lamb of God, things like that.
They normally start out as religious people, which is leading me to believe that I could start a cult because...
No, we all totally could.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go now. Mine's a little lighthearted. It's not quite so everybody died.
87 people didn't die in your story?
No.
That's
no
rookie.
children were molested.
That's
like
rookie
it's.
numbers.
I'm actually considering joining this cult.
The Branch Davidians?
No, this one.
Oh.
I don't think the cult's active anymore, but it was founded by a bankrupt tennis coach in New South Wales, Australia. His name is Serge Benhayon.
Okay.
I probably fucked that up pretty bad. It's a weird name.
Yeah.
He started the Universal Medicine Esoteric Breast Massages cult.
Got a massage the mommy milkers.
The what?
Universal Medicine Esoteric Breast Massages.
Sign me the fuck up. What are we doing?
An actual quote is, "Let me cure you by massaging your breasts."
That's my new pickup line. I'm in. This guy was a visionary. He's not a cult. If you talk about my leader like that again, I will walk across this table and molest your breasts.
Oh.
I mean, massage.
No, you didn't do that.
So, like...
We're getting like bits of Brad.
That's about right.
We're
That's
getting,
about right.
We're getting bits of Brad in the moments where he tries to insult us, and like what he originally wanted to say, and he tries to cover it, comes out instead.
I'm fiending for Tony's titties.
So the massaging breasts and these heal people.
Yes, so his basically his
quote.
entire thing is, no, this is a different quote.
Oh, that was a different one that you
That's a
told?
different
Okay,
one.
I'm so excited.
So
about that
basically,
one.
he's gonna get there. His whole thing is that he has healing hands.
Yep.
And he also gives other people healing hands
Can confirm.
that can massage cancer out of people's breasts.
So he was selling himself to women with breast cancer.
Yes.
Oh.
As
You guys are like, he rolls into a
Yeah.
hospital. He's like, "Hey, ladies."
I mean, also other things though.
Suddenly-
it wasn't just women with breast cancer.
Suddenly, I don't want to be on board no more. Let me off the train.
You back up real quick.
Basically, any woman would come to him with like, "I don't feel right. Like I don't feel like myself anymore," and he would go, "Oh, good. Oh, boobies," and then they would be healed.
Excuse me, ma'am. Did you tell me? I could have swore I ever heard that your feet hurt.
Did you have a hangnail? I can massage your boobs and it fixes them right up.
He goes to bars and he's like, "Which one of these bitches looks sick?"
You're blind? Let me help. Oh, you're still blind. I'm
Here,
sorry.
let me get one of my other members to come help.
I gotta keep-
He like backs up and he just goes right back. He's like, "This is David. He's going to do it
And
now."
this is the rod of healing. And it's just titty fucking.
I love this
Titty
quote.
fucking.
I love this quote that's on here on the article that I was reading. It's "The breasts are emanators of a quality of divine truth that begins at the heart. The heart in connection to the pubic bone chakra."
I missed that part of
my
Naruto.
chakra. That's my chakra nature now.
I missed that part of Naruto.
Which is aligned to the ovaries, brings emanation of nurturing out to all who have. So basically, if he massages your boobs, it goes through your bone chakra,
your pubic hair.
Yeah, and then into your ovaries, and then your ovaries spout new growth.
Okay.
Effectively.
Wait,
Seems like a very well thought out pyramid scheme.
you ever think a guy went up-
Turns out the guys were just a bunch of creeps.
Really?
None of it fucking worked, and they actually were in fact defuncted.
I would like to say speak for yourself because it works for me when I.
When Brad's feeling low, we just give him a little massage.
No.
you know what I mean?
I help the others.
Oh yeah.
It's working, Steve. You see this? I'm already better.
Good. I cured his gout.
I now have a raging boner though. So that's weird.
Do you think guys
Side
ever like
effect.
went up to him and like, "Hey, like I have cancer. Can you like this is their last hope?" And it's like it's a guy, and they're like, "No,
No, my door don't swing that way, bro.
go away."
You don't have the right pubic chakra. I can sense it. You don't. I'm sorry.
It'll go right to your testicles and they'll explode. Get out.
Oh my god, you have way too much pee stored in the balls. This won't work.
That is where it's stored.
So basically, a NSW Supreme Court. I don't know what NSW is, but I'm assuming it's an Australia thing. found that
Down
they
under.
were a cult with potentially harmful and sinister elements and caused them to be disbanded.
Yeah, so they
Thankfully,
fondled
but-
women.
They found that they were harmful.
Yeah,
They're
it turns
sexually
out-
assaulting
when did-
chicks,
when did this happen?
and that's harmful.
When did this
I
happen?
actually didn't get a year for it, unfortunately, but I do have a picture. Oh, one of the most recent events was 2015.
Oh, so this is like extremely recent.
This is extremely recent.
Visionaries, honestly.
So guys, we've had a lot of fun.
Wait. I just can't get over the fact that like the women like sitting in the jury or something, they're just like, yeah, it was fake the whole time. They're just like, what?
A bunch of his
What about the
cult
time
members
whenever
are
he pulled out his penis and shirt? Oh, and it just.
What about that time that he came all over my tits and then just massaged it in? I don't understand what's going on. That seemed to make me feel better.
Man,
I was like, yeah,
I don't care what happens. I'm not massaging my own baby gravy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know if they were into that.
Like, bitch, clean it off yourself. Hey,
Yeah,
Maybe
what
they
if she
were-
was real into it?
Maybe they were into it.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
we all brought these cults, right? And in true above and below fashion, we're about to pin all of our cults in a death match.
Oh, I don't like my odds.
He just tries to grab everybody's boobs.
Mine just fondling. Wait, who had girl leaders? Steve had a bunch of girl leaders. I win over Steve.
Actually, our main leader that led us into led them into like armed warfare was a dude.
That's fair.
Mine was a chick who had kids.
Yours isn't real, Brad.
Mine's literally an alien.
But yours isn't real.
No.
Wait, no, I definitely get Bobby though. His was a chick with cancer.
Oh my god, yeah. Wait, did you massage? You think that would have worked? They would have massaged the cancer
So
out of God?
here's the canonness of it. My cult believed that when they died, that they would ascend into extraterrestrial beings, being Brad's cult.
Yeah.
Steve's cult inspired my cult's rules, and Tony's are just
I think Tony.
I like boobs.
yeah.
I want to fondle some
In a
titties
death
to
match,
be, like,
they would be the
healing.
first. In a death match, none of you guys have the balls to bring weaponry. Yours isn't real, so yours wouldn't even be
I have
there.
a spaceship.
Mine are peaceful people.
Yours are
generally.
peaceful, and they're like nerds that don't get enough. So like,
we're just,
the ATF got involved because of the gun stocks that they had.
Tony's group was founded in a Reddit. In a subreddit, they're just like, hey guys.
It took SG-1 a whole episode to defeat my guy.
So it took an hour.
44 minutes if you don't count commercials.
Didn't they beat? Wait, wasn't your story that one of the guys on the inside killed the leader?
Well, yeah, they infiltrated.
Oh,
So you have like max stealth.
Yeah, oh yeah, my team's.
But in a death match, we have like 1,000,000 guns.
Yeah, but I have a spaceship.
But didn't all of yours kill themselves?
He just never made it back.
No,
to
they
his
had no
spaceship.
way out, so they started.
They get into
lighting
the
fires.
arena and they're just like, ah, fuck, and they just light themselves on fire. My leader's in the corner and Tony's just like, yeah.
I may be biased here, but I'm voting for the titty one.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. I appreciate the support.
I mean, I hate to be
Stargate
biased.
ranks right below Boobies. So.
I hate to be biased on my end, but mine actually went to war with the U.S. government. They didn't win, but they'd also beat some pussy ass cultists.
Yeah, but they felt like tiny little girl titties, not like.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
At least Tony's
Are
were
you
adult
supporting
women.
the pedophiles?
guys, we're talking about a death match.
We're just comparing what they've done.
We're talking about a death match.
Well, mine are giving up almost immediately. They don't care. They want to die.
I was gonna say, the Bobbies are just gonna show up and just like drink the Kool-Aid and
I'm
die.
gonna kill myself in front of you.
Yours are gonna light themselves on fire in the
In
ring.
53 days.
Oh, yeah.
They sieged for 53 days.
Okay.
They sat around playing Uno waiting to get
Do you
attacked.
think they were like sitting there? They're just like, do you think they're gonna do it today? And the other was just like, nah. They just went back to it.
What's funny is that there was one guy that died.
That's hilarious.
Wow, that's crazy.
No. What did he do?
One guy that died. There's conflicting reports. So the ATF and FBI shot him, but they were like he was just coming back from work.
Oh.
And they killed him.
He's just passing
Yeah,
by.
he was
Like, man,
passing by and they got him.
You know.
I'm the pizza guy. Oh.
You know, natural selection.
I
That's why
had-
if I see tanks roll up in a compound, I'm not going near it.
Oh man, I just had the worst day of work today.
Get shot by the ATF and FBI. There he is! What?
Lights him up.
His pizza box explodes. He's like, what the fuck? Chest gone.
So, what I'm hearing from everyone is that we can all agree that we would be fantastic cult leaders.
Oh, 100%. If these people were doing it in 2015 with boob massage, this guy, like I said, failed tennis player. He had no medical training.
I'm a failed tennis player.
Yeah, same.
Well, I've never played tennis, but I'm certainly going to fail at it. So, like, let's cut out the middleman and just start grabbing movies, shall we?
How about you don't? Because
We
that'll
can
get you
combine
arrested.
all of our cults.
Consensual movies?
No, listen.
No.
You're the higher level. We are trying to become aliens by massaging women's boobs, and you just bring the guns, Steve.
We bring the guns. But we're leaving out the child molestation.
Oh, yeah,
That's
see-
very bad.
See, that's...
No, we don't want
we're not-
Black Butler.
we're not-
Yeah, no.
We're not doing that. And then,
Actually, what they did back then was play Black Butler on a loop.
yeah.
For hours, the whole 53 days.
That's how you get in the mood, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, look at that demon with the kid with the fucked up eye.
What I wouldn't have given to be a fly in that compound that didn't get lit on fire.
I was about to say,
I wanted to see who like what happened. Like what was their mentality
yeah.
to be like,
Guys!
guys, we gotta start lighting this place on fire.
Do you think he did he's like, fire! He like kicked open the doors, he's like, everybody fire! And they're just like, what? He's like, light it all on fire, God said to!
Alright.
It's just 3 lines of coke. Listen, put
listen.
it on fire.
Johnny, you've been a devout believer in the branch Davidians of the Davidians branches. I need you to stand here with this fucking LMG and fire upon the tanks.
Can you imagine if they left the kids inside and they just like put kids on guns?
If I'm being honest, they lost all their leverage when they took the kids out because you got the ATF wouldn't have moved. The ATF wouldn't have moved in with tanks if they hadn't removed the kids.
Yeah, what a bunch of fucking idiots. Like,
That gives a whole new definition to fuck them kids and think we have time.
Okay.
God.
Anyway. And thank you for joining us today to the rounding, astonishing, fantastical Above and Below podcast episode.
Hallelujah.
Please check us out on Twitter at Above and Below 69. Nice. If you want to support us, you can follow us on Twitter, leave a rating on the site you use to listen to us, and if you're on YouTube, please search the Above and Below podcast, give us a like and a subscribe. And as always, my brothers and sisters, advanced aliens, maggots, whatever you want to be called,
Boobies.
have an above average day. Hallelujah.
so like anyway, if somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, we're gonna become aliens, just say no. And don't do kids.
Don't-
Bye everybody!
Bye.
Boobies.